lesson, we will read an excerpt from Raccoons. And this will be a nonfiction passage because this will be a real story, a real article, meaning true information about raccoons. And it starts us off with an image here, a raccoon in its den. So a den is just you could say a den is a room in someone's house where people kind of sit. Usually a den has like a window room, but a den can also be a place where raccoons live. And a raccoon has a great sense of hearing. It can see very well in the dark, and it uses its paws to get food. So this diagram might explain some of these, or our article might explain what the diagram is telling us. Raccoons are one of the best known animals in the United States. This is because they live in almost every part of the country. Raccoons are easy to spot. They look like they are wearing black face masks and have bushy tails with black stripes. However, many people have never seen a raccoon in person. This is because raccoons tend to come out at night. Look up raccoons. They do like to go into garbages, so that is somewhere there they might be. And those would be our real life raccoons if you don't remember what they look like. And now we have flexible, easy to move. Or you could also say if you said someone was flexible, it would basically mean they're able to bend in like ways that other people can't, like stretching wise. Raccoons have rounded bodies that are covered in thick brown or gray fur. They have black masks on their face and black rings on their tails. They have 4 black paws. Raccoon paws have 5 fingers, just like a person's hands do. Adults tend to weigh between 10 and 30 pounds. They are about 2 to 3 feet long from nose to tail. Raccoons are very smart and quick. They can use their flexible fingers on their front paws to do things that most other animals cannot do. These include untying knots and turning doorknobs. Eating almost anything. Raccoons are omnivores. This means that they eat both plants and animals. Exactly what a raccoon eats depends on where it lives. They may eat fruits, nuts, berries, seeds, eggs, insects, crayfish, frogs, fish, and turtles. Raccoons even catch young gophers, squirrels, mice, and rats. Raccoons living near people also eat pet food and garbage. Raccoons look for food at night. They use many nerves on the bottoms of their paws to feel for food. Raccoons often dip their food in the water before they eat it. Scientists think that this softens the raccoon's feet and makes it easier for them to feel their food. That's strange. And then we have night and day. Raccoons are mostly nocturnal. This means that they rest during the day and are active at night. Raccoons can be pests for people in neighborhoods and cities. They tip over trash cans, dig through gardens, and pull down bird feeders looking for food. They may hide or have babies in places where they are not wanted, such as chimneys, attics, and basements. Raccoons keep safe from predators and people by hiding during the day. However, they are sometimes killed by cougars, bobcats, coyotes, dogs, owls, eagles, and snakes. They also might die from hunger, being hit by cars, or getting sick. Predators, animals that hunt other animals for food. So, what makes raccoons interesting is they're both a predator and a prey. Because if they're an omnivore, then this is saying that they will eat other animals, such as, an egg is an animal's baby, right? Like a bird egg. Insects, frogs, fish, turtles. So littler animals raccoons are eating, but they are prey to larger animals like the cougars, bobcats, coyotes. Many different dens. Raccoons are thought to be solitary animals. This means adults spend most of their time alone. Raccoons tend to stay within a home range of about 1 square mile. In this home range, they have many hiding places that they use as dens. Unlike some other mammals, raccoons do not hibernate in the winter. During the winter, they spend a lot of time in their dens, keeping warm. However, they will leave their winter dens to find food if the weather is not too cold. Sometimes many raccoons will share a large den to keep warm and safe during a winter storm. So, this is kind of a contradiction, because if this says that they are solitary animals, thought to be solitary, a solitary animal wouldn't necessarily live in a den with a bunch of their species. So they were thought to be solitary, but that might be being questioned because that is not a solitary behavior. Raccoons are in no danger of dying out in the United States. In fact, their numbers may be growing. This may be because they have adapted so well to living in neighborhoods and cities near people. You may see raccoons around your home at night. Raccoons can be fun to watch, but you should never get too close. Raccoons can spread diseases to people. If you like raccoons, try visiting them at a zoo or looking for their tracks in a park. And the main disease you might say is rabies, because especially with a raccoon, if it was being like friendly to a person, that could signify the fact that could mean it's sick. Because normally raccoons and animals in general, wild animals, would be fearful of humans. Unless they're being fed a lot, which that could be something. But raccoons can spread diseases like rabies, and there's other rodent diseases they may have attached to them. So don't want to be touching any raccoons for sure. So now, if you take as much time as you need to answer the multiple choice questions about our article on raccoons, and we will go over our answers. We have our first question about our graphic. How does the graphic support the information in paragraph 2? By showing what raccoons look like, by explaining that raccoons have good hearing, by explaining that raccoons can see at night, by showing where some raccoons live. All right, so we know that it did tell us a lot here, but now we have to match it with paragraph 2. Gray hearing, sees in the dark, uses paws to get food. And then here, it talks about their bodies. So you have raccoons have round bodies covered in thick brown gray fur, a black mask and black rings on the tail, 4 paws. Their paws have 5 fingers just like a person. They can be 10 to 30 pounds, 2 to 3 feet long. That'd be 3 rulers, really. So now, I might say paragraph 2 was specifically about what a raccoon looks like, because it did tell us these 3 other things about their hearing and their flexibility, and it also even showed it in a tree, which must have been that one's den. But the only answer that matches with paragraph 2 is what a raccoon looks like. So for 19, we would have A. Which sentence best explains why raccoons only come out at night? Raccoons find their food when it is dark. Raccoons spend most of their time alone. Raccoons hide during the day to keep safe. Raccoons have black masks and tail rings. Now for this one, them coming out at night doesn't have anything to do with how they looked. And spending most of their time alone, that doesn't really have anything to do with them coming out at night either, right? So I might say we're between A and C. And remember the word nocturnal. So nocturnal is a part about them coming out at night. They're resting and active at night. And you could say raccoons keep safe from predators and people by hiding during the day. Because they could really be looking for their food at any time of day, right? So the fact that they're hiding during the day, that is to avoid their predators. This one has to be C. Because raccoons can find their food just as easily in the daytime as they can in the dark, even though they do have good night vision. But this one has to be C. Normally, any nocturnal animal is nocturnal because it hides from prey. Because you also have to think that the predators, their predators can't really see as well at night. But some predators do see well at night. But in this case, it is answer choice C. In which section would the reader find information about what raccoons do during the winter? That was the part about the hibernating, right? And if we look, it was under our many different den sections. So these are just called your headers, right? So In here, it tells us about the hibernating in the winter. And you would also have to know that hibernating is something that animals do when they sleep all through the winter. So they eat a lot of food, and then they do bring some food in with them. I'm pretty sure the bears, they're not all the way sleeping for the straight winter. They do wake up, I think. I don't know. I think turtles do, but so for this one, it has to be D. The section that told us about their hibernating or what they did in the winter, which they don't hibernate. So that they don't hibernate would be answer choice D, many different dens. And then we have here, animals learn to do things a certain way because of their habitat. So habitat is just where animals live. Which sentence from the passage best connects this idea? So when they say best like that in bold, we can assume there's going to be more than one answer that could fit. Raccoon paws have 5 fingers, just like a person's hands do. That does help them in their habitats. But exactly what a raccoon eats depends on where it lives. That is important about their habitat too. They use many nerves on the bottom of their paws to feel their food. That one's about finding food, not really habitat, so we could eliminate C. In this home range, they have many hiding places that they use as dens. So now, if our question, animals learn to do things a certain way because of their habitat, we might say it can't be A. That doesn't exactly have to do with it, right? Their habitat. And we know it wouldn't be this. And we could say between B and D here, right? Trying to decide how they learn to do things a certain way. I would have to say what they eat depends on where they live. Because you could say a raccoon that lived near an ocean might be eating more, I don't know, fish type thing. Not that, well, they don't go into the ocean. But let's say they live by a swamp or something. They could be eating more sea creature food like the turtles. Whereas if they were living in a big city, a city raccoon probably wouldn't really see a turtle. But a raccoon that lived near a swamp would. So you could say these raccoons are learning how to find food based on where they live. Specifically, if they lived in a city, they learn how to open the garbage cans, they learn how to kind of sneak into people's houses or garages or take down bird feeders. So what the raccoon eats is depending on what they learn or what is available to them in their habitat. Because here, that one doesn't really have to do with the habitat, because a raccoon that lives in a city or a raccoon that lives near a swamp, they would both have as many dens as the other, typically. Well, one might have more than the other, but having dens is something that all raccoons have, no matter where they live. They have a bunch of hiding places or dens within a mile radius. Whereas what they eat definitely changes from where they are in America. So that one has to be B. Which detail from the passage best shows what the author thinks about raccoons? Raccoons are very smart and quick. Raccoons living near people also eat pet food. Raccoons often dip their food in the water. Raccoons can sometimes spread diseases to people. Now, when we're looking at this question, it is asking us what the author thinks. So, if the part about raccoons live near people eat pet food, that is a true statement. Like, a raccoon will most definitely eat dog food or cat food. If you see videos of people's outside house and they have dog food or cat food out, they'll show videos of like a raccoon coming and eating the cat or dog food. So if we're talking about what the author thinks, we're looking for an opinion. Something that can be sort of proven, but it's not a fact, right? So raccoons dipping their food in water. That appears to be a fact that the author knows. And raccoons spreading diseases to people, that definitely happens. That's most certainly a fact. So the only one of these answer choices that isn't a fact is raccoons are smart and quick. Technically, raccoons are rated as one of the smartest animals, and they are very quick. But this is more of an opinion, because some people might think that raccoons are not so smart and not so quick. Even though they are quick, they can run really fast. Well, compared to a person, I might say they can run pretty quick. So answer choice A is the only one of these that is an opinion of the author. The author's opinion or thoughts, the author thinks that raccoons are smart and quick, because our other three answer choices here are more factual. Raccoons do eat pet food. Raccoons do dip their food in water, and raccoons can sometimes spread disease. So those three are facts, whereas answer choice A, that is the author's opinion. And those of you are questions about an article on raccoons.